Scholars! Welcome to the counselor's office. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Wow, very many wows. People hate the soundboard. Don't care. Gonna do it anyways. Absolutely. Chock full of all the fun but goodies. Oh, I'm tired. And I keep saying that every video because I'm tired. The grind is it's insane. It is truly insane. If you have been playing Destiny since launch, you know how absurdly grindy it is to try to get to each level. Why do you care about even doing it? Like, it's very simple. Why you care is because you get access to certain activities that you can't get like anyone else can. Unfortunately, you will not have access to these activities, which will give you tier 4 up to tier 5 loot. We also know that Ash Iron is going to bring in the epic raid, and it's going to bring in more options for tier 5. Apparently, you can actually get tier 5 if you bash your head into a wall. Why are we talking about this? Well, let's go to Twitter. So this was tweeted, and this kind of has started a little bit of a chain. This has started a chain with the community. The ability to get high tiers more often. It's time gated to Iron and Ash. I already did a video, but I did it for members because I owe my members some perks. So I did a video specifically for them. If you remember, you can go watch that. But just kind of regurgitate some of the things. It has been found that it is time gated to a certain extent. Like, you can bash your head against the wall to get up to 450, which has been happening. We'll get to that in a minute, but they did actually warn us, but your data and everything else I've seen sounds worse than expected. I'd read this carefully. When the Edge of Fate first launches, you'll be able to increase your power as much as a total of 450. Earn high enough grades from portal activities can give consistent growth all the way to 400, which seems to be true. It does, to a certain extent, it goes from +4 to +3. As soon as you get to 300, it becomes a +3. I don't know why we have to make it worse. It's like, great. Cool. Total power, 400 to 450 rewards will at first come from newly upgraded prime engrams, which drop with both high power and high gear tier than your regular rewards. You can pretty reasonably get tier 4 at this point. Achieve high grades in portal activities, improve your chances of finding a prime engram, which are also no longer limited by week, which is great. However, when you come to find out that it is freaking rare to get that high boost. With Ash and Iron major update later this season, you'll be able to earn total power all the way to 550. Regular rewards from the portal activities will also be able to drop up to 500 total power, and prime engrams will again award gear up to the hard cap 550. Those who reach 500 power will be rewarded with regular drops of the highest tier of weapons and armor, tier 5. At this point, all you care about is getting to 500, because at that point you're going to get tier 5, which is all you care about. You want to, I don't like, sure, maybe for like specific activities like the epic raid, whatever they may have, you might still need access to 550, but I'm going to be honest. Most people generally just want the ability to farm tier 5 loot. This gear comes with both unique aesthetic qualities and the highest stats. So being able to consistently farm them will be an aspirational journey for the most ambitious guardians. When they mean ambitious, they means you need to quit your job. You need to jerk off Bungie a couple times. You need I don't know what else. You can't have any connection with other human beings. You need to make sure that Destiny is your heart and soul, and by the power of video games and anime, you can too own a tier 5 armor set. Listen, I know this grind, they're trying, I said it before this thing launched, when I did the Edge of Failure, which in a lot of regards, it is a failure. Like, the numbers have dropped dramatically from launch. It's going up and down. I think they're managing to maintain a 70 to 60 ratio, which is better than some seasonal content, it's probably not that good for expansions based on historical context. Nothing impressive. The one thing that's keeping people going is this grind, which is what they want. It is trying to become more of an MMO, which is just doing this ridiculous power grind for no reason. However, I would say that I feel like most people would care more about the armor grind in general than this. And as you go up the chain, up when you start getting tier 3s at 300, you also have a chance to get tier 4s. Once you get to 400, you guarantee tier 4s with a chance at tier 5. And at 500, you should get those tier 5s. Most people are probably going to cap out at 300, if that. Maybe 4 at the end of the season, which I'm going to be honest with you, based on information that we have, 400s are just as equally as good as tier 5s. Tier 5s, you get the same stat ratio with a little extra, essentially what artifice armor, what we had previously, you get a little extra slot. It's the same thing. You get a little mod that gives you a little extra boost, which can really help certain builds, depends if you're trying to min-max. But I don't imagine that most of the Destiny community will be hyper aggressively in tier 5, which I think makes this a bad system. Either you make the system less egregious by making tier 5s more rare, that you have to do in-game for, or I don't have another or. I'm just saying that that's what they should. I try to think, look, wait a minute. I didn't really think about this very far. Yeah, they just need to make this less egregious. Like, it's too much. And it's funny because we've given feedback about this power grind for a very long time. And Bungie's like, we hear you. And then they did with it. Then they slowly reverted backwards once they noticed that retention wasn't sticking around. Like, hey, instead of improving the game and making the game better, we're just gonna not do that, but make you have to grind through it. And it seems like Edge of Fate is the same way, where most people, instead of actually engaging with the new stuff, everyone is just playing the old, like, sure, it's the portal, but they're using old areas, which is, again, fine. I'm glad, but I shouldn't have to farm one solo ops 30 million times to get up to a power. It's ass backwards. No one enjoys this. People have lives. Like, how many people, like, here's the thing. I'm not saying like we should ruin the farm and everyone should be able to get access to tier 5s, or it should be like just handouts, even though I would argue that getting the specific roles that you want in the first place is still RNG based. So like there's some argument to be had there, but I don't think that you should spend this much time grinding. We'll get to see what people are saying in the comments in a minute. Like, we'll get to that. So, gigs, once you hit power level 400, your drops have a 5% chance of actually being an upgrade. That's horrible. Yeah, it's bad. 5% chance of being an upgrade. That means you have to continue to farm and farm and farm and farm and just hope that you get that juicy engram that gives you a slight increase, gets you that +3, baby. Not +10, +3. Woo! Oh, please don't waste your time. Just wait for the system. It's too awful to keep. If you ignore the power grind in Destiny right now, it will get patched and things will be handed out to you in about 2 to 3 months. God, I hope so. People mad about grinding being in a grind game. Like, this community is so goddamn annoying. It's unfun grind that gets entirely reset after 6 months. Thank you. It is not fun. No one wants to do Encore or Kel's Fall now, or do solo ops, the one singular solo ops, back to back to back to back to back. No one wants to do that. It's not fun. I do think they should add some of the newer content to the portal and make it a tad faster, but it's still supposed to be a grind for at least 3 months, not 2 fucking weeks. I love stupid degen incels. Brother, no one should have to sell their soul. This is a looter shooter. It's not a real MMO. It doesn't work that way. If they wanted a real MMO, they should have made Destiny 3. It's not a 3-month grind though. The power grind is access through tier 5, tier 4 grind. New gear only lasts 6 months. The power grind is intended to take 3 months. That leaves 3 months to grind and use the gear before the grind resets. We went from not having to worry about power leveling it to being the focus of the game going forward literally overnight. I don't know what to tell you. People want to grind activities for better rolls, not to make an arbitrary number go up. That's the thing. No one's complaining about grinding unless there's a reason. But the fact that you literally have 3 months to get ready for epic grade, and then once that's out, and then you grind for 3 more months, it's gone. All these hours just go away. Just like magically delicious. It's gone. Like, it should be for the full year. They need to not do if they're going to keep this bullshit system. They need to make it to where it resets after a year. This is not acceptable. It's bullshit. It's retention bait. It's just meant to pad their metrics. And guess what? It's working a little bit. Like, sure, we're doing better than episodes, which isn't really that impressive. And when you compare it to the metrics of other expansions, it's probably the worst expansion we've ever had. Post Forsaken, because that era with original D2 with Curse of Osiris probably takes the cake for that, especially launch. But when we're talking about everything that we have tracking for, this is the worst expansion we've ever had. The numbers don't lie. The players went goodbye. They went bye-bye. People want to play a game to have fun, to enjoy. But the fact that people can't even grind knowing that you're getting shit armor until you get to essentially tier 3, level 300, none of it matters to you. Maybe the guns you'll probably play with a little bit, but essentially you want to get tier 3, so then you get to the point where weapons are essentially what crafted weapons were in the past. So no one's actually going to give a shit about armor or anything until they hit tier 3. And then most people want tier 4s. They want the tier 4. They want the juice. They want the squeeze. They want the fun stuff. This is not fun. This is not enjoyable. Nothing about this says, man, I'm so glad this is great. I'm actively pushing myself through the grind because I want to get to 400 so I get tier 4 so I can actually work on builds. Like, at this point, there's no reason to give a shit about trying to make builds because the stats are ass until you get to tier 4. Not gonna lie, this is worse TK infusion. Why do I need a small loan plus a blood sacrifice to bring up any item? This is the thing. At first, I thought this was going to be okay, but then I didn't realize how god dang expensive it is once you get up there. Because at first you're grinding, you're getting a bunch of these unstable cores. You're like, oh, well, this is pretty reasonable. But then when you try to make builds and you try to infuse things to a higher light level, you literally use hundreds of thousands of cores, and it doesn't make sense. It is grind, especially since this is resetting. This magical number that you're infusing for is just going to disappear. So it feels even worse knowing that this is ass. Those wondering where the stockpile went, I infused 3 items into another build. Stockpile gone. Granted, I am now stuck on the most powerful build in the whole game, but is now the only build I can use above 200 power. If he's using, I don't even know if he's using 1-2 punch, then it's probably the grapple hunter, which is like the strongest build in the game. I kind of want to go and swap the hunter for farming to make life easier, but I've been a Titan main. Here we go. Bungie, when I have to dismantle 62 pieces of level 400 gear in order to make a single build. Yeah. So someone, as you're going up, to put the cores needed to infuse perspective, dismantling a 400 power item gives 633 cores, meaning dismantling 12 pieces of 400 gear is 7,596, is just shy of the 7,744 for one infusion. To fully infuse an armor, you must dismantle 62 pieces of 400 gear. There is no fucking way that you're even your most dedicated gamers can do this shit, because you literally have to be a streamer or content creator, or you live in your mother's basement, which is not the target audience. That's not how this should be. I'm sorry. Any game that takes it, like you have everyone gets a golden star, that's shit. Only the people who literally do this as a job get to have the nice things. That's also shit. Like there can be a well-balanced in the middle where you have to put effort into it. You have to put work for it, but it's accessible. This is just stupid. This is not fun. This is not enjoyable. And no one should have to sell their soul to actually be able to make builds in Destiny 2 at the high end. It doesn't make any damn sense. And like I said, some people have been brute forcing themselves. But again, these are content creators. These are streamers. These are people who literally get paid to play Destiny. If you try to do this without actually being paid to play Destiny, you are going to suffer. Your mental health, your relationships, everything about you is going to suffer. This is not normal. This is not okay. How many hours has it been, boss? Too many. Have you been rocking the same build when you grind? Yes, I have. And that's the thing. It is almost pointless to do more than one build. Find one dedicated build that you can use at any level and stick to it, which is essentially what people have been doing, is they've been sticking to the one singular specific build, which this one's pretty good because this can deal with overloads, unstoppable, and anti-barrier. And that's what you want. You want a build that can focus on all champions and has high DPS, high survivability, and can just focus that. And mine's just a regular arc alpha loopy. It's very boring, very dull, but that's what happens when you play the same build 100 freaking times. It gets really, really boring. But you saw how much it cost to infuse to make one freaking build. Imagine trying to do that multiple times. You don't have the time. You don't have the currency to do it. It's insane. 200 achieved. Anything beyond that just seems trivial since it's going to be reset anyway. I really hope they tweak this endgame system because it is terrible. I will say I enjoy the portal. I do too. I think the portal has a lot of good options. It's a good concept. It's a good base, but the progression itself ain't it, Chief. But loading it with old content or 5 minutes missions you spam over and over is not it. Fix your endgame. Exactly. If the endgame is just doing old content, it's a shitty endgame. Yeah, it's just a lot of people are going to have the same mentality. Like, I'm at 200, I'm done. You know what, whatever. And then they might go to 300 to get tier 3 so they can get like what we got pre Edge of Fate. You're going to lose, Bungie's going to lose people. They need to take the system and dramatically cut it. And I see what they were trying to do. 100 tier 1, 200 tier 2, at 300. No one gives a shit. No one gives a shit. You need to do it like we need to have 100 levels and call it a day. And if you want to do seasonal, do 50-50. 50 levels after you hit 200? All right, 50 levels for the seasonal, and then the mid-season update, 50 more levels. And don't do this like bullshit where we're like, oh, you get one incremental power level. No, you do three level. That way you can grind it out and you're done. Play the game. Oh, what's the game? Oh, that's right. 90% of the game was soft sunset, so they need to pad the time to make you think that there's actually things to do when there actually isn't anything, because it's all just been soft sunsetted. So that's why there's a power grind, because there's nothing else to do besides the power grind. I would argue I'd still grind for armor, just to play of different builds, even if it is pointless that 90% of the game is sunsetted. At least I can take the build into that soft sunset stuff and, mess around, play with the new raid, play Crota's End, whatever, Salvation's Edge. You could still play test and see how things feel with the old content or the old dungeons, or maybe go back and solo flawless a dungeon that you haven't done before. Like, there's options to still do if you care about your builds. That's just my thought. Outside of that, I do think for your most day-to-day people, this is a horrible experience, and it's going to push people away. No one's going to want to fucking deal with this. Like, I played Diablo 4 and the grind isn't even nearly as bad as this. Like, it's pretty easy to level up in Diablo 4. This is just horrible. Plus, I would argue that Diablo 4 has a lot of activities to do as you're grinding and playing. Like, you got the different dungeons. You can do the tides or whatever the hell they're called, the hell tides. They also have their capstone missions and stuff like there's things to do. I'm afraid this Bungie took 90% of the game away. They said that they might take encounters from old dungeons and raids and bring them back. Like, bitch, no, people paid for that shit. Stop being a piece of shit and bring the stuff that people paid for. People are buying Salvation, the Final Shape, and it's soft sunsetted. That shit needs to be like have value. People, unless you're gonna make it free, you need to bring all that stuff into the portal as is and not do this choppy bullshit where you're like, we're just going to take an encounter and make it like a solo thing. Bitch, do that and keep it the way it is. Have both. Have your cake and pudding. No one paid $400 something for all these expansions just for you to shit down their throat and say, haha, sorry, it's soft sunsetted. No, that's not how that works, Bungie. That's not how that works. Anyways, I'm Mr. Game Counselor. Let me know what you think. How do you feel about the grind? Do you think it's reasonable? Do you think it's unreasonable? What do you think they should do? And what is your, like, you have the magic wand to change the power progression. How would you shape the power progression? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, don't forget to game out.